Rutgers to me is got a tremendous mindset when they play. I know they've lost some games, but what I see on film and what we've seen from Steve is they are the real deal. And there is no way that you get ready for anybody in this league judging on a record. And I would hope nobody would think they're getting ready for us judging on a record right now in the early stages of the Big Ten. But the bottom line is, we're very familiar with how good a coach Steve Pikel is with his time of coaching against him at Stony Brook. We're in the same NCAA tournament site in Des Moines this year when he was at Stony Brook, and they opened up with opened up with Kentucky, I'm sorry. And they're playing with a great spirit. I mean, they're relentless on the glass. Freeman is as good of offensive rebounder outside of Jalen Johnson that we've seen yet. They've got quickness at the guard spot. They can get down and they can get in the lane. They can make threes. They're a big team. They're a big physical team, and they play fast. And they're playing different than a year ago, obviously, and they're gaining confidence inside of that. And all you have to do is look at some of the games they've had in this league. One being Iowa the other night, one being Northwestern. And certainly look at that and say that they're right there. So we've got to come out with a real edge, and you got to have it any night in this league. And having an edge hasn't been our issue. Carrying it out has been our issue, and that's what we've got to continue to get better at. So we're looking forward to it. We've had a good few days here, no question about it. And as far as improving in the film room, I think, as far as improving on the practice court, the small group settings, things of that nature. And we've just got to continue to not only improve our base and improve on both ends of the court, but improve our fundamentals and keep looking at what the game is giving us and understand how to take advantage of it. And even when the game is, I thought during the other night, the game was giving us the opportunity to get to the foul line in the post. And after watching the film, I was more right than ever. We just didn't get that. And we went into the post numerous times, and we weren't rewarded for it. And so, but again, it comes down to the end. We got a chance to tie the game at the buzzer, and we just didn't get it. And I keep reminding these guys of a couple turnovers shorter here, a couple more layups on our end, under 2 minutes. Some of these things are a different story, but the bottom line is we've got to do a better job throughout the 40 minutes, not just at the end of games. And we've got to continue to learn how to play winning basketball throughout the game. And that's where the connectedness comes in. That's where the urgency of possessions comes in. That's where the putting segments together inside of the game. It's not a mistake-free game by any stretch. No one ever thinks it's going to be, but it has to be an urgent. We have to simplify it as much as we possibly can. But I have the vantage point of being able to. I don't know how many of you go back and watch the games after they're done, after you write, and to see if you were correct or not. I have the vantage point of being able to go and do that. And even in the other night, there's not a whole lot of things we would change about the way we attacked inside of the game. We had a couple mistakes. The Herder three obviously hurt us because we went under a screen rather than over. But again, it's just stuff inside of the game that we've got to continue to take advantage of. I hope that when we do go in the post, and there's two hands in the back, that the way the rules are written, that we're going to be rewarded for that. And when there's body on the drive, that we're going to be rewarded for that. Just like we should be penalized if we do it. So that's all you can really hope for as you go into the game, and then try to make the adjustments the best that you can as you go through it. And we just keep moving on to the next one.
Tom, you had Curtis and Devontae right there. In terms of being able to get freshmen to make impact right away, obviously you've had success in doing it over the years. Is there a certain key couple things that you do to get them ready so that they can be productive?
Well, it's consistency for those two. We just spent some more time on the court after practice working on a couple of things with them. They're getting better. There's no question about it. But the hardest thing for any player, especially a young player, to understand is how simple you have to keep the game. How much it's about the next pass. How much it's about running the court both ways. How much it's about understanding that your first step matters in so many things, whether it's on the ball defense, whether it's your cutting. Just get into the flow. Just get into the flow. When you get into the game, and you come into the game, impact it with an activity on defense. If you can rebound it, that's great too. Impact it with an activity up and down the court, and impact it by making the next pass. And then certainly when the ball comes your way and you're ready to shoot, be ready to shoot it. You don't miss or make, be ready to shoot it. But that's the thing. All freshmen have different things, and all freshmen go through, extreme difficulties at times. It's part of it. But I mean, we're building confidence through the demands, not trying to take anything away through the demands. But when you have two guys like that and Duran like that, I mean, you want them to understand. I mean, they can be very, very valuable for this team. And they get coached detail-wise every day. They get coached intensity-wise every day. They're making strides without question. But they just need to play the game in a much more simpler fashion. But even at the same time, when you come in, that doesn't mean just get in the flow and guard your men. I mean, you got to bring some real juice to it. And when you go to the bench, or it's the old play on demand term is very hard to get guys to understand. And when it's time to play, come in and impact it, and take your time on offense, but be real aggressive on defense.
With those two also, I mean, they seem a little soft-spoken. How much, too, are you kind of coaching them just to be talkative, assertive, just a little bit more vocal?
I'm coaching the entire team to be talkative, more assertive. So, I mean, seriously.
Given their roles, though, just being...
It's no difference. It's no different. No, and I say that because it's not a strength. It's not a strength of anybody right now. And we've got to continue to work through it. And there's responsibilities that certain guys have. But that's where some of the urgency needs to come from. So, those guys, no question, if you're asking me a singular question on those two, then yes, those two have definitely got to get better with that. But they got to have better role models right now and on the court. And that has to get better in a hurry for us to really take some big strides. Because we're getting better, but now we've got to carry it over, okay? And in the details of the game are so important. And talking is not about just rah-rah and yelling and getting in somebody's face. I mean, we don't have a lot of guys that are like that. Talking is reminders. Talking are their conversations. I say this all the time, and it becomes hard to understand for players till they've been through it a while, but defense is bullet points, offense is conversations. And they're quick conversations. They're sometimes they're animated. They're not monotone. They're just not. And we haven't quite grasped that yet. But I've got juniors that haven't quite grasped that yet, too.